We haven't done our deep breath together, so let's do that. That week between Christmas and New Year's, Joe and my husband and I spent some time at my sister's house in Kansas. One of the days we were there, we hosted a party for the 27 extended family members that live in the area. My sister and I have hosted many, many events together before. In fact, in the years before seminary, before COVID, it was not unusual for us to host an event each month for our UU church or for other nonprofits that we were associated with. In those days, preparing for an event was at least a 2-day affair. There was a thorough cleaning of the house, shopping, cooking, setting the tables with tablecloths, nice dishes and glassware, and a little bit of decorating. We would have detailed checklists and timelines, and the events were always successful, and our guests must have liked them because they kept coming back for more. This year, however, when we hosted the family party, things were different. We did a little bit of preparation the day before, but we did not knock ourselves out. We both have demanding full-time jobs now and not as much energy left over. The menu we kept simple, and we were planning to use paper plates, even though it didn't quite feel up to our standards of what makes a party special. The morning of the party, we woke up and began cooking and finishing the setup of tables and chairs and dishes. Well, there must have been a mix-up, or the email wasn't clear, because members of the family started arriving about 45 minutes early. In the old days, at that point, we would maybe be putting the finishing touches on the food or the tables, but this time, much of the food prep and setup was not done. And my sister and I were still in our Christmas pajamas with wild, uncombed hair. So we started scrambling, and at one point, I moved the bar stools away from the kitchen island so that people could easily get their food that we would set up in a buffet. And I noticed with horror all of the debris, popcorn, crumbs, pieces of food that had gathered on that floor around the island, because that's where we would sit to have lunch or play cards. And then I went to the dining room to put something on the table and could see by the unflinching light of day that the tablecloth that had looked fine after dinner the night before had a significant amount of breadcrumbs and possibly other leftovers scattered around. It was too late to do anything besides greet our guests and be gracious as we could, and make a quick run to change into real clothes and make my hair lie down. And you know what? The party was great. It was fine. Everyone was fed, we exchanged gifts, we got caught up on each other's lives, and we connected with a lot of laughter. And we, the hosts, were not so harried that we didn't have time to just sit and talk. This experience made me wonder about how much time I spend and how much stress I put myself under working on things that maybe feel important at the time, but don't actually improve my life or the lives of those around me. This time of year is when we turn the calendar page, and it's a natural time to do some reflection on our lives, especially on that year that's just passed, as well as some planning for the year to come. And I think taking time to reflect is a good thing. If we don't do that, we can just drift through our lives. Sometimes drifting means living the life that's just happening to you instead of the life you intended to live. So it's good to take stock and notice whether your daily activities and attitudes are moving you closer to or farther from the life that you had in mind. This type of reflection, which can also include celebrations of growth and marking losses, it seems really healthy to me. There's also a push, though, at this time of year to make New Year's resolutions. Marketers around us are urging us to take on the new year, new you mindset. Buy this, do this, don't do this. This feels less healthy because what these appeals have in common is that they're driven by capitalism and productivity culture. and they're calculated to make us feel like we are not enough. If you remember nothing else from this service today, I hope you will hear that those messages that you are not enough are lies. You are enough. You have always been enough. You have worth. You deserve to be treated with dignity. You are whole and holy and worthy of love and belonging. Believing that humans have this worth and dignity is a cornerstone of our tradition's values. Another way to say it is that Unitarian Universalists have what's called a high anthropology. We have faith that humans, given a choice in the matter, will most often do the thing that contributes to good in the world. Our faith also affirms the belief that humans can change, that we can grow and can improve our behavior. We've moved away from the 19th and early 20th century ideas of onward and upward forever, and the idea that humans can be perfected. But there remains the idea that we can grow closer to our ideas of our best selves. This might sound like a contradiction, that we have worth and dignity, that we're enough just as we are, and still be the human version of a fixer-upper. These ideas are not incompatible, however, because the idea of worth and dignity is about our unchanging essence, and our need for improvement is about our malleable behavior and habits. So at the beginning of the year, this reflection gives us time to reconsider our values and how these values guide our choices each day, the choices that become our behavior and our habits. What is it that you want to do? To quote a different poem from Mary Oliver, with your one wild and precious life. What does the soft animal of your body love? What does the life you hope to live look like? And what does it feel like? As you review the year, are there ways you want 2024 to be different from 2023? Are there ways you want your future self to be different from your past self? I remind you, it's possible to know that you are whole and holy and worthy of love and belonging, and also know that there are ways you'd like to change your behavior and habits. Now, another way to frame this life review or life planning is to imagine what regrets you might have at the end of your life if you don't make any changes to how you're living today. In 2009, palliative care worker Bronnie Ware wrote and published an article about the regrets she heard from dying patients. The article was read by many and eventually transformed into a book. It was called The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying, A Life Transformed by the Dearly Departing. The regrets that Bronnie Ware says she heard most often were about having the courage to be true to oneself, about expressing feelings, about staying in touch with friends, about letting yourself be happier, and not working so hard. You'll notice that none of these regrets have anything to do with things that can be purchased at a store, with money, public accolades, prestige, or a fancy house. These regrets are humble and personal and about a person staying true to themselves and connected with the most important people in their lives. If you were to make a resolution today to help ward off these common types of regrets, what would it be? I suspect many of these resolutions could be phrased as a decision to do less. Are there changes you would make in how you spend your time, like less time working or scrolling or binge watching, and more time with the people in your life? Are there changes in how you might look at the world, like approaching it with a little less cynicism or fewer walls around your heart? What about less worrying about what others will think of you? What if you dropped your shyness and just went ahead and told the people that you love them? Or the people that you admire them, or the people that you're grateful for, that you're grateful for them? What if you dropped the impossible standards that you have for yourself? and instead give yourself the grace that you often offer to other people. What are the things you could resolve to do less of? What if, as the reading that Andy shared earlier suggested, you spent less time working and more time making art, resting, communicating, and connecting? Now, as a minister in a progressive faith, it feels irresponsible for me to say to you that you should just lie around eating bonbons for the rest of your life. Because the world's a bit of a mess. However, I suspect that taking time to clarify your values and the life you want to live and the legacy you want to leave, coupled with letting go of some of those things that you spend your time on that are really not that important, will open some new ways of being. I suspect that it could make you more liable to act in alignment with your values. I suspect you might see more clearly how to live in a way that helps create a just, beautiful, peaceful, and connected world. And this is what I wish for you, my friends, that the new year contains less of what robs you of your joy, your energy, and your sparkle, and more of what fuels you, inspires you, makes you feel connected and alive. So I want to leave you with a blessing that I would have written, but I found this one and it was perfect. It's from the Reverend Nadia Bowles-Weber. You may have heard of her. Bowles-Weber is a tattooed, sweary, snarky, tender, and wise ordained Lutheran pastor. She founded a church called the House for All Sinners and Saints. And she now writes books and blogs and is the pastor of a congregation in the women's prison in Denver, nearby where she lives. So here's her blessing. It's called A New Year's Blessing for Realists. As you enter this new year, as you pack away the Christmas decorations and get out your stretchy pants, as you face the onslaught of false promises offered you through new disciplines and elimination diets, as you grasp for control of yourself and your life in this chaotic world, may you remember that there is no resolution that, if kept, will make you more worthy of love. There is no resolution that, if kept, will make life less uncertain and allow you to control your aging parents and your teenage children and the way other people act. So this year, as every year, may you just skip the part where you resolve to be better, do better, and look better this time. Instead, may you give yourself the gift of the gift of really, really low expectations. Not out of resignation, but out of generosity. May you expect so little of yourself that you can be super proud of the smallest of accomplishments. May you expect so little of the people in your life that you actually notice and cherish every small, lovely thing about them. May you expect so little of the service industry that you notice more of what you do get and less of what you don't, and then just tip really well anyhow. May you expect to get so little out of 2024 that you can celebrate every single thing it offers you, however small, because you deserve joy and not disappointment. So I wish you a happy as possible new year. Love, Nadia. And to that I say amen, and may it be so.